Good evening, cowboys, cowgirls, and outlaws. Welcome to the Slick Sixguns Network. I'm your host, Slick Sixguns, and I'm here to provide education, tips, and community for those interested in the Western shooting sports. If you're interested in stuff like that, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notifications bell so you don't miss anything. Now let's pack our wagons and see what's being discovered out west. Good morning, cowboys, cowgirls, and outlaws. Welcome to the Slick Sixguns Network Facebook page. I'm coming to you live as my usual week. I wanted to go ahead and get you guys going good and make sure that we had a nice end to the week. And I know that y'all wanted to see me with my original Winchester 1873, which we will be talking about in this video. But I'm going to go ahead and preface everything with all the stuff that I, have to unceremoniously do, as every influencer does, is if you ever feel like you want to participate or contribute to this channel, by all means feel free to go to Buy Me a Coffee page. You can possibly be announced at any of these live videos. Also, if you want to support my YouTube channel, you can always go to the Patreon page, in which for as little as $1 a month you guys can receive exclusive content pertaining to you, to include individual live streams, one-on-one phone calls, the ability to influence content for the next video. That's 100% up to you. Anyway, with that being said, I'll go ahead and kind of get started with everything. So, what you guys are all here, I hope, was not only just for the guns, but to go ahead and socialize with your favorite YouTube cowboy here. I have my favorite coffee. I got it from my local place here without messing it up. There we go. Mojo's Coffee out here in Central Texas. I hope you guys, if you guys like that type of coffee, please let me know. Please let me know what you are drinking. Whether it be your coffee, whether it be 5 o'clock somewhere, beer and wine. Let me know what time it is if you're watching this video. Maybe you're just taking a break from your job and you're in the bathroom just chilling out and not really working. I mean, you are in a certain sense, but you're not, and you just want to go ahead and tune out for a little bit and just enjoy some time with me. Thank you so much for your time. Please let me know where you are watching from. I always like to know where my audience is coming from. Regardless of what state you're from, regardless of what country you're at, I always like to know where my viewers are from, because I got people from all over the world coming to watch these videos, and it's always fun just to get to know people. So, hopefully you guys are enjoying your coffee, enjoying your morning. I hope everything is going very well for you, and I hope all the craziness out there is kind of keeping itself at bay, and you guys are not having to do anything too crazy or, feel the need to do anything crazy yourselves. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to be talking about a few things to include not only the firearm that I'm going to bring on this channel and show you, but I'm also going to be talking about the ammo it shoots. I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I wanted this firearm, how much the firearm costs when I bought it, just for those of you who are curious as to how much these things run nowadays. And also just, to let you know what I use it for. So essentially, how much I paid for it, what reason I bought it for, why did I come across it, how much they cost, and, what do I use it for. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm really excited, and I hope you are too. It's going to be a pretty fun video. If you guys notice, in the back of me, I got my famous green screen to make things look a little bit cleaner. Before that, I kind of just had a white background, so, we're doing some good things here. And some good coffee. Man, well, anyway. Let me go ahead and pull up the firearm here, because I know everybody is so excited to see that. I know you guys want to dive into the content and be able to see what is on the channel. I also want to preface this video and let you guys know that I have safety checked all firearms before I've even shown this. So please, for my range safety officers out there, no need to comment in the comment section. Yes, the weapon is clear. I will clear it on camera as well anyway. Alright, so here is the Winchester 1873, and I am going to go ahead and show clear. You guys can see there's nothing in there. Okay, we can go ahead and move on. Alright, so this is my vintage original Winchester 1873. It's got a crescent butt plate. You guys can see there. I'd say there's some pitting on the metal, and there's definitely a patina to it. It's got the roll mark on the tang to go ahead and show you, designated as a model 1873, and it says model 1873 there. It's got the side plates that you would see on a 1873 that kind of separates them from everything else. So it's got a little bit of work that kind of needs done to it. I can talk about that in a second. But, you know, even though the metal isn't perfect, nor is the bluing looking super awesome, and it's got some dings in it, that's okay. Basically, from what I've seen on it, it looks like it functions. And you got the brass elevator down there, or lifter, carrier. It's got an octagon, it's got an octagonal barrel. Okay. Haven't measured the barrel length. There's the fore-end cap. Got a nice little chip of wood in here. So I will say it's got some use to it. It's a full-length magazine tube. And somebody at some point decided to put the rear side on, the front side on backwards. So that's okay. Anyway. Alright, well, this is my original Winchester 1873. For those of you who don't know what this rifle is, be sure to look at my videos on YouTube. I'll tell you all about it. Although this rifle is not showcased in any of those videos, this merely is a original rifle that I bought not too long ago, and I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about it. If you guys have any questions on any of these firearms at any point in time, please let me know. You guys can go ahead and ask me all your questions, and I will do the best I can to answer them. I get a lot of interesting comments sometimes, specifically when it comes to the firearms that I showcase. They have the question of, well, why is the loading gate on the wrong side? Well, it isn't. It's actually the way that the camera and the lens is. So this is it's on the correct side. So standard side of the right side, if you will. But anyway, it's a good looking rifle. I would say that, you know, as far as collector quality, this is not primo condition at all. I have not shot this rifle. For those of you who actually have shot 32-20, please let me know what you think of the cartridge. I have shot 25-20, and the 32-20, or the 25-20 is a neck down 32-20. So I would imagine they're relatively similar. But I have not shot a 32-20 yet. I have two rifles chambered in 32-20, this being one of them. So, the serial number on this one is there it is, 703,063. Something about that. Something like that anyway. I don't know, it's just the light. Kind of, yeah. So anyway, it's definitely going to be a later production rifle. So I definitely these were produced all the way up to the 1920s. So we'll definitely see how it goes when it comes to shooting it. So yeah, my original Winchester 1873 in 3220. She's very nice, very beautiful from my perspective, and some people may be out there saying, oh, well, that thing's pretty beat up. Well, for its age, it is. And it's obvious that someone used it. It isn't just something that it isn't just something that somebody put in their closet. They actually used it. So this might actually be somebody's ranch rifle, somebody's truck rifle at some point, somewhere down the road. But for those of you who have Winchester 1873 originals, let me know what you have. I've seen some pretty well-made, beautiful-looking 1873s out there, but there's only so many that you can have within your budget, and there's only so much that you're willing to put towards it, and it depends on what kind of condition you want it in. I like to fancy myself as a little bit of someone who is a collector and then also an influencer and also a Western firearms competitive shooting enthusiast. So, these weapons will be shot at some point. If they have not been shot by their previous owner, they are definitely going to be used by me, but I plan on holding on to them for a long time. Obviously, some people held on to these for years, kept them in their family, and then all of a sudden somebody decided to get rid of it because they needed money or they didn't see a use for it anymore, and it just fell into the right hands. So that's a good thing. So this is something that will not be given away, will not be sold for a long time. My son, who is 4 years old, he's already talking about, Daddy, I'm just going to use your guns, or I'm going to have your guns. And, well, he may, depending on how much of an appreciation he has for them. So, this may not be his thing, but it was definitely Daddy's thing. So, anyway, I digress. I've been talking a lot. I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys what inspired me to get this rifle. So, for those of you who don't know, I actually have 3 variants of the 1873. I have 3 different manufactured 1873s. I shouldn't say 3 variants, because if I say that, because there's different models. I have a Uberti manufactured 1873. I have a original Winchester 1873, and I have a Moroku Winchester 1873. So I have all 3 different major manufacturers that I know of. Those are, there's probably other little companies, other companies within the Italian market that also make them. I know that Navy Arms did some things with them, I believe. Don't quote me on that, please don't. I understand that I may say something that might be a little off or not exact. Don't beat me up too bad in the comments. I haven't done a whole ton of research on exactly all the different manufacturers of the 1873 after the original productions were given up, halted by Winchester. So, but I do know that they have, the ones that I am mentioning are ones that actually manufacture the 1873. They obviously, Winchester, who is under, who imports from Moroku, in which they are actually manufactured by Moroku, isn't made the same way that the originals were made. So they're not made in the States, they're made in Japan, but they still have the Winchester name. And then you have the originals that were made in the United States with their old markings of, where it was made. And then you also have the Ubertis as well, who, were manufactured in Italy. So I have the 3 different major manufacturers that I know of. If there are others in the comment section, please let me know. There's a difference between a manufacturer and an importer. So, with that being said, those are the 3 that I know of. Why did I get this one? Well, I needed to round out my collection of manufacturers because, 1873 is a pretty popular style of rifle to have in the Western shooting sports. But, of all the other style of rifles that you see that have different manufacturers, you do have, just something of trying to, I'm not saying this correctly. Why did I get it? I wanted to round out my collection of 1873s. I do not have all the rifles of the different variants of all the other ones. I may not get there. I may not have reproductions of originals, but I will definitely have originals. But the 1873, given the fact that my wife is into cowboy action, I'm into cowboy action, we wanted to get something that we could do aftermarket parts for, so we got a Uberti. I wanted something with a Winchester name, so I decided to get a more modern Winchester because I wanted it in 45 Colt because they have it, even though that wasn't an original chambering. And then I just got the bug to have an original Winchester 1873 because they're a little bit more affordable. I say that with care because I know that nowadays they are more expensive, but of the earlier models of Winchester style rifles of the toggle link actions, the Winchester 1873 you're looking at is going to be one of the least expensive, and obviously that is varying on the type of condition the rifle is in. So that's why I got it. I wanted to complete my collection of manufacturers of the different 1873s that are out there to purchase by the consumer. Why did I get this specific one? Well, it was in my gun shop, and for those of you who don't know, earlier in a previous episode, I decided to go out and purchase a Colt Lightning rifle, which is in a previous video here. You guys can look at that if you want to as a live stream. That was a relatively expensive rifle there, and I was never going to see something like that again, at least in that shop. And the types that were made, the type that it was made that I bought was very, very rare, and I just had to have it. So sometimes this shop comes down with some interesting finds with some people that want to get rid of them and have some money for them. So I kind of got fortunate in that aspect, and I probably would have had to pay a lot more if I went somewhere else, but I paid a decent price for it. And the same was, somewhat said here. I know that people, when they say that the price, well, you paid too much for that gun, okay. It all depends on what I'm willing to afford, and it all depends on what I really want to get. And if I want to buy the first 1873 I see, that's an original, and I can actually put my hands on it rather than go to an online market. And if I'm paying a little bit more just for doing that, given the fact that even if I buy online, I'm going to be paying taxes as well. So the final buying price may be very close to what I'm going to get it from a store. And that's just the way I saw it. So, why did I pick it up from that store? Because it was available, because it completed my collection, and also, much like that Colt Lightning rifle, I didn't really see any originals that were in the shop very often. But they were wanting to get rid of it because, obviously, if they were able to sell it, they would make probably more money off of it than most of the other guns that they had. So with that being said, I didn't want anyone else to have it because I didn't think anyone else in this community would appreciate it more than me. That may be a little too self-confident, and that may be a little too rough on other consumers, and I may be judging people a little bit too much, but you know what? I know I take good care of these rifles, especially if they're pieces of history, and I do care for them. I don't beat them up, and I would just hate to see it's almost like having someone go out with that girl that you always wanted. You know, you know that you're going to be the best one to treat her, and you know you're going to be mad as heck if someone decides to date her instead of you, because you know that you would treat her better than that person over there, regardless of whether that be true or not. That's the same way that I looked at it, and I went ahead and bought it from that shop. So, price point. How much did this thing actually cost? Because I'm sure people out there are going to say, well, I'm going to want to buy a Winchester 1873 original, and I don't want to pay too much for it, or, what is really a good price? Well, I'm not an appraiser, so I'm going to preface that right now. There is a very good highly likelihood that I did possibly pay too much for this rifle, but, comparative to some of the other weapons that I have had, this isn't the most, surprisingly to some of you, this is not the most expensive rifle in my collection. The most expensive rifle that I have in my collection is about $5,000, and that is a Colt special model San Francisco Police Department Lightning rifle, medium frame. This one was actually well below half that price, so I paid about $2,000 after taxes. So the shop wanted $2,500 for it. I looked at it and said, well, there's some things that were a little off with it, to include the fact that, if you guys haven't seen it, to include the fact that the cover, the dust cover, does not stay. There's usually a spring in there that keeps it up. At least with the modern reproductions it does. And from what I've seen on the originals, when I've handled originals, there is a ball detent in there that is spring loaded that usually catches the dust cover and allows it to stay while you cycle the rifle. This thing has a tendency after a certain amount of time to inch its way forward, and therefore causes the rifle to jam. Like I said, and how do I know that? Not because I shot the rifle, but I've run the action. So, and I know that that kind of happens. How do you usually mitigate that? Well, you can either fix it, or you can go ahead and take the dust cover off. But I'm probably just going to fix it in this case. So, so I paid about $2,000 for it. For those of you who have purchased Winchester 1873s, let me know how much you have paid. Obviously, it's going to depend on the condition. So, if people have a pristine condition 1873, I'm sure, you could pay upwards of $5,000 for that. If it's never been shot or whatever. Once again, I will tell you that of all the toggle link actions, the 1873 that I've seen so far has been the least expensive. But I'm a collector. I get into it. And some people just want to buy the cheapest rifle that they can. Because, sometimes people see $500 as too much for a rifle, and just like nowadays. But, I'm at a point in my life where the price really, to me, does not matter. And I know that's kind of sad. Because I've paid quite a bit for a rifle. I've paid quite a bit for a revolver. But it's for the sheer fact that I actually have a piece of history. I will shoot it. I will use it. I will have I will have it for a long period of time. I will use it to show my kids and my grandkids and show them the piece of history and maybe get them involved in it. So that's kind of why the price point to me really doesn't matter. And I'm not saying that it shouldn't matter, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't care. By all means, please be responsible with your finances. Do not make anyone in your family upset, and do not break your budget to the point where you cannot take care of yourself. You need to, as with always, you need to budget yourself, you need to be careful with what you buy, and you need to make sure that what you're buying is you're getting it for the condition, and you are getting it and you're accepting it as, it works or it doesn't work, and you're happy with it. So just be happy with it is my point. Be happy with it, don't be too upset over it, and don't make anybody else too upset in your family. Immediate family, I should say. Wife, girlfriend, whatever. Depends on how, but, some people might be like, I don't really care about what my girlfriend thinks. I don't care about what my wife thinks. Okay, well, that may be your relationship, and that's you. So, you know, but you know, or you might be those people that decide to hide the firearms in the safe and not tell your wife that it's there, and then all of a sudden one day, you know, she says, well, what is this? And say, honey, I bought that several, you know, hundreds of years ago, or, you know, whatever story you want to tell, and, you know, and then she gets mad 20 years later. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and shut up and show you this rifle again, and then I'll cover a few more things. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go to the butt plate. Wood on it. Looks pretty good to me. Going down to the frame, the iconic 1873 look, the octagonal barrel, buckhorn rear sight. I have not measured the barrel length on this, so please don't ask. Someone decided to put the front sight on backwards, which I'm going to have to fix. But it is a blade, you know, one of the original silver-tipped, German silver-tipped front sights that you see on a lot of the old rifles. So anyway, that's how much I paid it for. Now, to answer the question, what do I actually use it for? Or what am I going to use it for? What am I going to use it for? Well, I do plan to use this in competition at some point. And that is what I'm going to use it for. I bought all my other rifles specifically for competition and to also have chats like this. To talk about the different history, talk about the rifles, talk about the calibers, all that good stuff. I do plan on shooting it in competition one of these days. I will say the action is a little bit on the rough side. I have to definitely put a little bit more force into throwing that lever. It is not by any means smoothed out. My assumption is that somebody just hasn't really cleaned it, which I plan to do in the near future. I just haven't done it yet. You know, it's not changing. It's not, you know, dying because of the lack of cleaning right now. But you know, I plan to pretty much just give it a good cleaning, and maybe it'll run a little bit smoother. So that's one thing I'll say. It's, for me at this point, I'm not going to say it's a competition ready gun. I'm not going to say that it's better than my other Winchesters, other Winchester 73 repros that I have. But it's just kind of something to have out on the range. Is a great talking piece. And I always get questions about things like that. Are there any defects on this? Yes, there are. As I said, I've got the dust cover on it. Some of the screws are actually out. Somebody either didn't put them all the way back in, and it shows you that I really haven't touched it. The wood is not perfect by any means. It's got some chips here and there. It is slightly cracked on one side. So to me, what that says is somebody used this thing and didn't just put it in their safe. They took it out hunting. They took it somewhere. They used it. They abused it. They didn't really clean it. The bore is okay. It's dark. You know, but it looks like it's got rifling in it. And as I said, it's 3220 specifically, or 32 WCF. So with that being said, some of you are probably asking the question, what is a 32 WCF? What does it look like? Well, I'm going to show you. All right, here we go. Here is a 3220 or 32 WCF cartridge. And as you can see, it's neck down. You know, I have not shot this cartridge. I have not shot this type. Please let me know in the comment section what you guys think of the 3220. It looks like an interesting cartridge. I will tell you the 2520 that I've shot is accurate as heck. You know, I think it's a great little varmint round, which is what it was designed for, at least the 2520. The 3220 can be used for, you know, more than just varmints to my knowledge. So I am, you know, I'm excited for that. So I will let you guys know how that goes. But yeah, the 3220, so that's very nice. So I have a 4440, a 4440, a 3220, so and a 2520. So those are the different calibers of the rifles that I have of the originals. So it's just kind of neat. Yeah, so let me know in the comment section what you guys think of the Winchester 1873 originals. If you guys have one, please let me know. Please share a picture in the comment section. I would love to see that. I love hearing from all my viewers as to what they actually collect. You know, I showed you in my last video, I showed you my Marlin 1894 original. So go watch that by all means. That's the one in 2520, a very solid looking rifle, very pretty looking. But I just had to have an original Winchester 1873. So how is everybody doing out there? I'd like to hear from you. You know, we're just taking it easy. I shouldn't say we're taking it easy. I'll say that the goat business is going pretty well. You can always look that up if you want. Ended up getting more head of goats this last week, so I'm up to 41 now. So I got quite the herd, and it's quite a bit to manage, if you will. So anyway, this is a very nice looking rifle. Not as smooth as I would like it to be. Once again, I think that comes down to the fact that it's not really super clean right now. I'm not an appraiser, so as far as the condition is concerned, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I just care that at this point that it does shoot. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed drinking coffee with you. If you see me on the replay, please shoot me a message. I try to respond to all of them, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Description section is a link to our Patreon account if you feel like supporting us. Don't forget to buy me a coffee as well. Outlaws, cowgirls, and cowboys, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. And if you're looking forward to the next video, I'll see you on down the trail. Have a good one.